The endocrine system is a series of glands scattered throughout your body. Now, it's kind of interesting because they send signals and cause a response similar to the nervous system, but yet they're usually a little bit slower and more deliberate. So let's take a look and see what we can find out about the endocrine system. So first off, does it act alone? No, it really doesn't do anything by itself. Sure, it's sending different signals, it's sending hormones out, but where are those hormones going? It's trying to cause a reaction or response in other systems throughout your body. Plus, those hormones initially were triggered because of some other signals or other stimuli in the body. So again, everything's really working together in your body. All these different organ systems, all these different parts and pieces are fitting together to work as one cohesive body. Metabolic activities. Well, may have heard the thyroid gland before. Thyroid gland has a huge impact on your metabolic activities in your body. But there are also other hormones that will play a part in your metabolism as well. So again, things to explore as we move forward. Now I've had here the responses can occur more slowly. Now, yes, a lot of times the hormones are not as fast as the nervous system, but some of them are very, very quick. For example, epinephrine, think adrenaline. That's a very fast response because it's directly tied into with the sympathetic nervous system. So you have a very fast nervous impulse coming in, causing a very fast release of the hormone to trigger the responses in the body. But in general, a lot of the hormones are going to be a little bit slower than the actual counterparts on the nervous system. Now, some of these different glands, and there's several different ones, but some of the glands are actually in two different systems in the body. I have here endocrine and exocrine. Well, endocrine, that's what we're talking about, but exocrine are referring to secretions coming out of the glands. So look at things like the digestive system, for example. So any thoughts of a gland that might be endocrine and exocrine? Pancreas is one. Pancreas is going to secrete hormones as well as secreting digestive enzymes that go into your small intestines. So for this unit, the endocrine system, we'll talk about the hormone side of the pancreas. When we get to the digestive system a little bit later on, then we'll deal with the digestive enzyme side of the pancreas. And same thing for the gonads. Think ovary or testes. They secrete hormones, thinking testosterone, testes. You have progesterone and estrogen coming out of the ovary. But at the same time, they're also secreting other things. Think sperm and egg are being produced and released. So we have, again, a mixture of different systems. We'll focus on the endocrine now. These other two systems, we'll focus on those when we get there. Endocrine and neural. Well, finishing up AP1, you did the nervous system. So this one, hopefully you might know. Which part of the brain is going to be nervous, but also secretes hormones? Well, hopefully you knew hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is part of the brain. It's part of the diencephalon, but it's also going to secrete hormones, so produce and secrete hormones. Overall, there is 9 major endocrine glands we're covering. Now, I say major because there's more than that, but they usually group these 9 main ones together, and then we'll refer to the other ones as more kind of smaller players, more subunits there. But I have plus only 1 in females. So both males and females have these 9 major glands, but there's one that you can only find in females and only at a very particular time in life. So let's see, we'll come back to that in a second when we go through all 9 different glands. But keep that in the back of your mind so you can think of what that one is that's only in females, only at particular times in life. So some of the other things that are also endocrine hormone producing, but not part of those 9 glands. Things like your adipose cells produce hormones. Looking at small intestines, kidneys, looking at the stomach, even the heart. And there is more than that. That's just a sampling of some of the things. Thinking the heart produces a hormone, produces atrial natriuretic peptide, ANP. So there's also these other glands that aren't the major endocrine that are still hormone producing. So let's go through those 9 major glands. Starting up in the brain, hopefully you've heard of some of these from the nervous system in AP1. You have the pituitary gland. Now remember, the pituitary gland was kind of hanging off just below where the hypothalamus was. Then of course the hypothalamus is just above that. That would be up into the actual brain itself, the hypothalamus. Then we have the pineal gland, which is a little bit more posterior in the brain. Think the posterior aspect of the diencephalon. Moving down into the neck, you have the thyroid and the parathyroid. So that's what we're looking at right there. The main thing you're seeing is the thyroid gland. The parathyroid gland are going to be small little spots on the posterior side or posterior lateral aspect. So those aren't quite as visible, except if you look in the blown up picture here, you're going to see these little kind of circles they drew in there. Move a little further down into the upper chest cavity, think where the heart is. You then have the thymus. Now the thymus is interesting because it's larger when you're a child, but it gets smaller as you grow up. So we'll get to that one a little later also. You then have the adrenal glands. Adrenal glands are going to be sitting on top of your kidneys. You can almost think of them as little hats on top of the kidneys themselves. We have the pancreas, which is sitting right in the middle here, nestled right in the middle of your entire abdominal cavity. And then we move down into the gonads, whether it's ovaries in the female or testes in the male. So 9 major glands from the endocrine system, and there's plenty more that help out beyond that. But I've got to go back to what was that one that could only be in a female at a certain point of her life. It's not on this picture. Well, if you're thinking about it this way, it can only be present for about 9 months or so. The placenta. Placenta is also an endocrine gland as well because it secretes and produces hormones. So the endocrine system really has structures from head down through the torso, and each one has its own unique set of hormones and unique functionality. So looking at these glands and hormones, that's what we're looking at in future videos.